All right, so excited to bring on our next presentation. This is Lin Pei, Director of Product Marketing for Teachable. She previously was at Bright Flag, Vue, and Autodesk. She has her own consulting business. She's very active in the community. You can find her on LinkedIn. She's always posting stuff. It's really valuable. So yeah, please join me in welcoming Lin Pei.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Great. Thank you so much for the intro, and really excited to be here. And I was just nodding along in the last presentation on the panel because I was like, yes, 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 these are some of the things I was going to talk about as well. So I'm so glad to be discussing this because it's so important. So just a quick intro, my name is Lin, and I am Director of Product Marketing at Teachable. And if the name is not a giveaway, we are an edtech startup based in New York City. And I've been on the job about 5 months. Over the past year, I have spoken to over 100 people or so who are looking for product marketing jobs or trying to advance their careers in product marketing. And I'm still good? Can you still hear me? Okay. And I have heard so many great successes because the market is really hot and it's a great time to be a product marketer. And through the conversations with these people, I also heard about their struggles, right? Like, how do I advance in my career? What if, I'm not doing the real product marketing, right? I'm a team of one. Like, am I even doing the right thing, right? And maybe I'm not in the right environment. How do I go somewhere else? So all of these questions are what led me to put together this presentation today, because as I reflected on my own career journey, I made so many mistakes. I had a lot of doubts and struggles. And so I thought, okay, why don't I share some of those learnings from my own experience? So this is by no means like a comprehensive study or quantitative analysis or how to be a product marketer, but it's really from my own experience. So if we go to the next slide, I would actually love to start with a poll. It looks like this is going to be the first poll in the conference today. So I think you can go join with Slido, I believe, and it's going to ask you to select what are you looking to achieve in your career right now. And maybe you are trying to get into PMM right now. Maybe you are looking for a promotion, trying to expand your role, or run your own business even right now or at some point in your life, or something else. I would love to hear that because those are all options that I thought of, right? I pivoted into PMM, as I'll share later. I was definitely trying to get promotions and trying to expand my role and everything. So I would love to just get an understanding from everyone in the room. Looks like we have good results coming in. This is really great. So most people are looking to expand your role. That's very interesting. So I'm assuming you're happy in your role right now and just trying to grow in it, which is wonderful. And the other people are looking to get promoted or something else. I'm guessing the other may be looking for a new job. I don't know, but that's what I'm guessing. But that's really great to hear. And so whichever option you picked here, I hope there's something of value in this presentation for today, because I really tried to shape this presentation to help answer all of these questions. All right, so if we can move on to the next slide. While this presentation is really about you and how you can develop your career, I would like to just spend a few minutes talking about my career path and a little bit about me, and I promise you it does have a point. So, next slide. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Yes. So that's a picture of me from when I was 4 years old, and that's me and my mom. So I know a lot of people have their mom as their inspiration, but my mom is definitely my inspiration because she was a single mom and she raised me herself. And I was born in China, but I grew up in Zambia in Africa. And I've lived on 3 different continents when I was growing up. So life was a struggle, and because she had to support me and herself. And when I got the opportunity to come to the United States to study for college, I just grabbed at that opportunity and I promised my mom that I will not disappoint you, right? And I'm going to really focus on my career and make the most money that we can, right? And really get the titles. And that's exactly what happened when I graduated from Georgia Tech with my degree in civil engineering. I actually became a consultant working for a transportation engineering firm, so specializing in like transportation infrastructure. Probably nobody knows what that means. I moved from analyst to senior analyst and then to associate, and I was on my way to senior associate and looking at the path to partner, where I just felt like this is not the right path for me, and I was getting more and more unhappy in my career. And that's the moment when I decided I'm gonna make a big decision and decide to quit my well-paying and safe job. And for the past 6 years since then, I have tried to build my own startup, failed. I had got my first break in content marketing at Autodesk, stumbled upon product marketing, jumped around roles, and tried to become an artist, was a starving artist wandering around the world, and tried to become a consultant. And now I am director of product marketing at Teachable. I'm also a mom, and I'm also a career coach for people who are looking to break into product marketing or growing in product marketing. And I can say I'm much happier now than before. And I show my experience for two reasons. One is that even though the latter part of my life has been a lot more turbulent, there's a lot of ups and downs, and everything, lots of failures, I learned so much more in the latter part of my life. And I wouldn't trade that for anything, because all of those experiences taught me something and shaped me to who I am and helped me get to where I am. And to me, that is my definition of success. And the second part, which is more broadly, right? For everyone sitting here, regardless of your path, maybe you had a straight path, right? You got promoted every year, that's wonderful. Or maybe you had a different path that's more windy or whatnot. It's totally fine, right? There's no right or wrong path. It's the path that works for you, right? So that's the point I want us to take home. There's really no right path here. So with that said, here's the 5 steps that I came up with to help build your product marketing career with intention. The first one is define what success means to you. The second is to optimize all of your experiences for learning. The third is to think like the CEO. The fourth is to focus on relationship. And the last is to start a side hustle. So I'm going to go through each one of this. So of course, defining what success means to you should be the number one thing, right? If you don't know where you're going to go, right, you can't go there, basically. And I think early on in my career, I was really obsessed with optimizing my life for money or title, and I was very unhappy. And in fact, I have never met a single person who only optimized their life for money or title and is very happy right now. Or maybe they're lying to themselves. Because success is internal, right? It's what means to you, and it's not what other people think of you. And of course, in our society today, especially here, right, we do associate a lot of success to other people view us. But really, at the end of the day, what I realize is what it means to me. That's all I care about. So then how do you actually define success for you, right? The first thing I think that's really important is dissociate for success from titles, jobs, salary, everything, right? And the easiest way to do that is just imagine what a day in your future actually looks like. So take out a piece of paper, right? I actually have an exercise here if you want to take home. Just imagine a day in your future, right? What time do you actually get up, right? And what are you doing during the day? Who are you talking to? Do you get a break to enjoy coffee, to enjoy lunch? What time do you get off work, right? Are you hanging out with your family, with your friends? And what time do you go to bed, right? Just describe that entire day and see if your life today is actually fitting to what that picture you've built, right? And then the next step is to take that and figure out, okay, well, what are some potential roles or functions or changes you need to make to your life, right, for you to get there? And maybe that place is not so clear to you. That's where the next step is really important, is to figure out and talk to people who are already where you think you want to be, right? Because chances are there are so many people who are already there. So it's not like you're just imagining things in your head, because a lot of times people come to me, they're like, oh, I heard there's great roles in so-and-so company, and I went there, and then it's not exactly what I imagined at all, and I want to leave after 2 months, right? So you want to prototype that by talking to people and really understand what it actually is. And then the last part is actually repeating that process regularly, because your definition of success changes, right? My definition definitely is different for before I had a baby to compare to now. And I'll give you a personal example. Is a few years back, I was trying to figure out what is my success, and I did the same exercise, and I wanted to work at a place where I could work 30, 40 hours a week, making good income, maybe doing like some product marketing, maybe VP of marketing, product marketing or something like that. And I'm able to have a side hustle, maybe as a consultant or coach or something else, because that's really important to me, and be a good mom, right? So I was like, well, that sounds amazing, but probably doesn't exist, because I was working at startups like 80 hours a week at the time. And so I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was like, hey, there's a friend of mine you should connect with. She's actually an executive coach. So I said, okay, let me do that. Turns out she's a fractional CMO and also an executive coach, and she's a mom to a new boy. And she's also an Asian American woman who I identified with. And I was like, I just connected with her right away. And she helped me so much in getting me to where I am today, right? Because I could see somebody, right? It's hard to aspire to be something when you can't see where that's gonna be. So, and today she is my mentor and coach as well, and helped me on my path. So, that's well and good if you've decided on what that success looks like, right? How do you then get there? And the second step is to optimize your experiences and opportunity for learning. And learning is so important, and many speakers have talked about that, right? Because at the end of the day, knowledge is the most powerful driver for your career success and fulfillment. Because with knowledge, it comes value, right? Value is what you deliver to a company. And the more value you have, right, you're gonna get rewarded for the value you bring. So always optimize for knowledge if you can. And so how do you optimize for learning and knowledge? The first is actually figure out what knowledge you already have, right? And because that is just a good place for you to start to understand what you already know, and you leverage that, right, onto the next job. So I have spoken to many people who are trying to break into product marketing, and they always say, I have no experience, I have no knowledge, right? There's nothing I bring to the table because I'm not a product marketer yet. But as we all know, that is not true, because so many of the functions and skills required by a product marketer is transferable. So in fact, like one of the people I was working with who came to me for help, he was a scientist before, right? He was working in the lab. He was like, okay, there's nothing in common I have with a product marketer. I'm like, you're wrong. You know how to have a hypothesis, you do an experiment, and you test it, right? And you have a really scientifically driven process to arriving at a solution. And that is so important as a product marketer, right? To sort of question the status quo and coming up with solutions, right? And changing the norm. So all of those things can be reframed into product marketing if you're new to product marketing. So once you've identified your strength, the second thing is to figure out where are your gaps, right? What are your skill gaps that you're actually missing and you want to actually get? And then when you have both of them, you can find opportunities that's going to kind of help you leverage your strength and also provide you with the knowledge that you want to learn. So I do have an exercise here as well to help you identify your strengths, because let's face it, it's hard to figure out what your strengths are sometimes. And so one of the easiest ways to do that is just to write down 5 top experiences from your past, in as much details as possible, like what made you fulfilled from those experiences. Really try to understand the why, and that's going to distill important insights about what you're good at. So here's a really basic template, just to help you identify your strengths. So maybe it's just listing out your skills, right? What are the skills that are important to you? And then you can score a rating, like how well have you mastered that skill? And then whether that is something you want to leverage or that's something you want to have in your next role. So this actually is the exact same rubric I used for when I got the job at Teachable, because I have been working at several B2B startups in the past, and I set up and built out sales enablement and functions at the company. So that's a skill set I knew really well that I know I can leverage. At the same time, right, I really wanted to learn more about a product-led growth company, because that's a skill set I didn't really have. So that's a must for the company I was going to. And while I have done some pricing and I'm really interested in it, I haven't really truly owned it. So I wanted a place where I can really own pricing. And lastly, I have managed people. I've managed a team of 2, but I love managing people, and I want to expand my scope and manage a larger team and create more impact. And so when I scored this, it became so clear what I need to focus on, and this helped me to remove the noise and really focus on what's important, right? because a lot of times we're presented with opportunities, better offer, higher title, right? But what's really important for you? So I'm gonna have a quick poll here again. This is the second poll and last poll. If you want to put in your Slido, I would love to just understand what's a skill set you're really looking to develop right now. And I just try to capture the most common ones I can think of, but yeah, we're really curious to see. Lots on positioning and narrative design. That's great to hear. There was a great presentation yesterday on that, I believe. That's wonderful. Looks like positioning and narrative design is the winner here. And so I guess my ask for you, or a little bit of a homework, is, knowing this is the area you want to develop, how are you going to develop that and get that skill, right, over the next 3 to 6 months in your career? All right, so going back to the presentation, the third step is to think like the CEO. And to me, this is one of the most important things to think about when you're on the job, whether you're starting a new role or trying to advance in your role. And thinking like the CEO is so important because it helps you get out of the weeds and find hidden opportunities that you can't really see, right, when you're on the ground level. And when you do that, you're going to naturally get more ownership and responsibility and rise up, right? You're going to be naturally the next person to be promoted, right, or something else. And how do you do that is really by these 3 things. The first is to build programs, not tasks. I think some other people have mentioned this, but it's really key. So for instance, if you're new on the job, right, and you're doing sales enablement, the sales is going to ask you for a ton of brochures. Here's a 1-pager after 1-pager, right? Instead of just giving them 1-pagers, really try to dig in, okay, why am I building all these 1-pagers? What is the actual problem? What is the root problem of all of this, right? And then build out the sales enablement program that covers the entire customer journey so that you can reduce friction every step along the way. And maybe what they need is not a sales 1-pager. Maybe it's a training session, a live training or something else, right? So thinking programmatically is going to be really helpful for you. The second part is to align with growth drivers of the company and say no to other things, right? We all know great CEOs have focus. So same as you as a product marketer, you need to have focus on what you're doing. And especially when you're trying to build so many programs, right, it can be a lot to handle. So remove things from your list that doesn't really serve the immediate goals of the company. Of course, it's important to think longer term, but pick out the top things to focus on is really important. And the last part is, with that focus, it's going to open up opportunities for you to help out other teams where you can. And I believe that's super important because you're going to be creating win-wins and also build rapport and trust with other teams. I'll give you a quick example here. When I first joined Teachable, I was talking to our product ops, we call them tech ops team, and they basically help with improving process efficiency along our product development process. And they were struggling to create a new or improved product development lifecycle. Obviously, that's not my responsibility as a product marketer, but I was really intrigued because an improved product development lifecycle means better go-to-market for me, and that's going to help everybody. So I decided to help them out. We built out the product development lifecycle. I also, from there, developed a go-to-market process that works really well with that product development lifecycle from the discovery phase all the way to launch, to post-launch. And we tried it out, we piloted, we kind of rolled it out to the product management teams, and it's been really well received, and it's a win-win for both teams, and that has created a lot of trust and also elevated both of us and both of our teams. So basically, the other thing I have on here, which is the last thing I'll mention, is that evangelizing is just as important as doing. So across any activity you're doing in the company, just remember to evangelize and socialize everything that you're doing, whether it's meetings with different teams, like even if it's work you're doing with product, right? You want to share that information with customer success, with marketing and all the other teams, and cross-pollinate information. That's going to help drive alignment and also visibility for you and the team. So the number 4, it's super obvious. focusing on relationships. And to me, focusing on relationships is really about making real connections. So we all know make friends before you need them. And that's certainly true, right? We don't want to be just like building relationships, not like asking for favors. It's about building true connection. And then when you have true connection, you can optimize for serendipity, because no matter how much we can plan out our life and our success, a lot of that is due to chance and luck, right? I can definitely count the number of times I got an opportunity because, I know somebody else, maybe somebody else helped so-and-so, right? And then I was able to get that opportunity. So then the more you're planting seeds, right, of like real connections, the more you can optimize for luck and serendipity. And to do so, I think there's 3 key things. First is focusing and holding on to people who are already, right, who already do believe in you. And we all know people go to a job and leave a job because of managers, right? That's the most important reason why people stay or leave a job. So if you already have a great manager, hold on to them, right? And really try to grow yourself and, develop your skills that way. I'll give you an example. My first product marketing job, my boss was Deepak, and he took me on with 0 product marketing experience, really believed in me. And I realized soon that he was a master at working with sales. So even in the first week, he took me on and we were going around the country doing roadshow with every single sales team. We joined all their meetings, pitching to customers. And this was back in the day when people were still doing roadshows. And also we're selling to real estate developers. So we have to be in their office. And I learned so much from that experience and was really able to go from just doing tasks for sales to elevating myself to own the entire enablement program and sit at the table with them, where I was in the deal rooms with them discussing sales strategy in less than 1 year of being on the job. And I was given an award by the sales team at the end of the year. And that helped me get promoted basically within 1 year of being a product marketer. And that could not have happened without my boss, who really trusted in me. The second thing is, maybe you don't have such a boss right now. Hopefully you do. But if you don't, or maybe you're looking for other types of guidance, right? Always build your own mentor network. And I think mentorship is not just about a formal relationship. It's not like, let's meet every 2 weeks, right? And have a 1-hour meeting. And in fact, I have found generally formal mentorship relations at least haven't worked for me. What worked really well for me is having informal mentorship. Like even sitting with you all of here, right? And all of us learning together is a form of mentorship. And funnily enough, a lot of people, like a lot of companies where I've interviewed and ended up being like mentees of the people who rejected me. So we just connected so much, right? And just decided to keep in touch and exchange information. And that has been a really wonderful experience. And the last part of that is give back, mentor others when you can, right? It's not just a one-way street. I'm taking on the information and learning on my own, but like, how can you give back? That's going to help you realize your value, but also benefit someone else. Even if you only have 6 months of experience, right? There is somebody with 0 months of experience, right? Or who haven't even started in product marketing. So give back, share your insights with them. That's going to really serve you in the long run. And a quick exercise here for you is, right, what is the smallest thing that you can do right now to build better relationships? We always think of like, we have a task list. These are the projects we need to do, right? I think we should treat the same for relationships and create a task for that. All right, so this brings me to my last point, which is building a side hustle. And slightly controversial maybe, but I really believe in it. And it's really something that has helped me on my career. And the reason being that starting your own side hustle, right? And I don't mean you have to make money or anything. This can be purely for learning, for enjoyment, for fun, as it should be. It's going to help you build crucial product marketing skills. It's going to, like if you are saying starting a podcast, right? Speaking skills, right? If you're writing blogs or writing LinkedIn content or making TikTok videos, right? Like all of those are really important skills that content creation and production skills that you need to have, right? And also just skills in terms of understanding product market fit, looking at data and reacting to the data, and then actually and see how you need to change, right? And make progress that way. I have met so many product marketers who have, for instance, never been in the shoes of sales, right? And if you ever sold even a simple thing, right, you would know how difficult it is. So when I tried to have my side hustle, I was an artist. One of my side hustles was being an artist. It is the hardest thing to sell a piece of art to someone. It has zero, there's zero pain, right? We're thinking pain funneling. There's no pain, right? So what am I gonna do here, right? So I have to be super creative to sell a piece of art that's worth like $100, right? So, and that allowed me to be really creative. And other things is that allows you then to build empathy, right? When you have had those experiences, you're like, oh gosh, it's so difficult creating content, so difficult making sales. You're gonna be much better partner to your counterparts. And that's gonna, and then the last part, of course, is gonna open new doors, right? Maybe you realize you actually love doing your side hustle. It's gonna take your whole, that's maybe your full-time job that you want going forward in your future, right? And help build your brand that way as well. Okay, so how do you build a side hustle? As someone who has built 3 side hustles and moderately successful in 2, here's my method. The first is to find something you're really passionate about. So how do you find something you're really passionate about? Usually you can do that by picking a topic. You can speak for at least 30 minutes nonstop, and you still want to keep going. That's probably a great topic for you to start. One of my friends loves bourbon, and he loves music, and he keeps talking about bourbon, which I know nothing about. And so he started a website. It's called Bourbon and Music, which is really wonderful. And the second part of this is once you figure that out, right, create basically the simplest MVP to start. It doesn't have to be complex, right? You want to make small incremental progress and experiment rapidly and quickly. So, if it's like, maybe it's just writing one blog post, right? Maybe it's writing one simple like Twitter or something, message or something like that. But you want to continue doing that for at least 6 months and make daily progress if you can. And that consistency is going to help you drive results. And I think in 6 months, if you keep doing that, guaranteed, you're going to see success and you're going to see some sort of like learning from yourself. And I'll give you this is a shameless plug, but in the summer of 2020, I wrote a post on LinkedIn about helping people to find jobs because a lot of my coworkers, actually 70% of my previous marketing team at my old company got laid off due to COVID, and a lot of my friends got laid off. So I just said, okay, well, I'm going to do this, post it on LinkedIn, shared my own career journey, and offer to help people. A lot of people responded I didn't even expect. There were people from all over the country I've never met writing me messages to help me review their resumes, talk to them about like career or just like a pep talk. I did that, and a few months later, almost all of them found jobs, which I was surprised. And a lot of them called me back and said, have you considered doing this in a more serious fashion because like you really inspired me and you helped me, and I was like, well, that's maybe something I want to do. And to date, I actually, like Devin said, I am a career coach as well, and I've helped over 100 people on their journey to become product marketers and tech while working full time and being a mom. It's very challenging, of course, but I don't want to make it sound like so perfect and everything, but it's something that gives me so much meaning today and has opened so many doors here. And I actually see some of the people who I had the opportunity to help in the audience today, and I've never met in person over the past 2 years. So that has brought so much joy and happiness in my life. So with that said, this is the end of the presentation. A quick recap of all the 5 steps here. And I would love to connect with you. Please give me any feedback if you have. And this is just simplest ways to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So many good things there. I don't think we have time for Q&A, but you're going to be out probably eating lunch.
Yes,
take live
I can talk to you outside.
And you can book a free consulting session with us.
Yes, of course.
Cool. So a couple logistical things as we head into lunch.